What's up, you guys? What's today? Wednesday. Happy Wednesday afternoon at 5 p.m. on the 18th of September. We are getting ready for the very last race on Key Biscayne. And welcome. If you are willing to, please tell me hello, say hi, let me know where you're from, and let me know what distance you're racing. Are you going to be doing the sprint try, the international, um, the duathlon, the aqua bike? Let me know what distance of the race that you will be racing. And we figured out the chat. We've had trouble with our chat recently, but I see that it's working. Hi, Monsi. So post any questions you guys have here. I will come in and check the chat a couple times. And I'd rather you ask the question in the moment. Like if I'm talking about a topic that you want help with, or you have a question about, type it in the chat and I'll look at my chat box and kind of see what the question is rather than you guys waiting. Okay, so let's see who's here. Neil, are you racing? I'm so excited to see you. I heard you were doing North Carolina. So proud of you. Okay, cool. So let's get started. Are you ready? It's kind of a rhetorical question, but it's Sunday. The race is Sunday. So I hope you're ready. But actually, there's still plenty of stuff to do between now and race day to have a better race. So I just want to say this quick story that I helped somebody last time literally take probably more than 10 minutes off their race just because they didn't know like how things were going to be laid out and how to pace and all that kind of stuff. So take some notes, apply what, works for you. We're going to get to that, but let's go ahead and settle in and just breathe and get centered. So sit up real straight. If you can, take off your shoes and wiggle your toes and feel the earth underneath your feet. Even if you're in a building, you're still connected to the earth, right? And we're going to do 3 of these breaths where you're going to take a really deep inhale through your nose and then a short little inhale on top of that, and then a big sigh on the way out. So you can mirror me. You guys ready? So let's nice deep breath in, little one, and a big sigh. Good. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, little one. Last one. And you might feel a little corny doing something like that, but I will tell you, you do feel better. There's no denying it. I mean, I do this stuff every single day, and sometimes I'm like, yeah, I don't have time for it. Every time I do it, I feel better. And if you stayed at the end of the webinar today, we will be doing a practice round of my foolproof, no panic swim breath work, right? Because many times you're not warmed up and you get in the water and you have a panic attack. It happens, and we're going to get to that. But I have a way to completely prevent that from happening, but you got to stay all the way to the end. If you have to go for some reason, you're going to get the recording. So please follow along and find me for that breath work at the end. Okay. So what's in it for you? My goal is for you to come away with useful information for this race, but also for future runs. This might be your first try, your second try, your third try, and you might not be able to do everything that I'm suggesting. So hopefully it's going to be stuff that you can use for the future, as well as this race. And number 1 rule of racing, triathlon, is never try anything new on race day. But the cool thing is if this is your very first race, everything is new. So you can actually make some changes and do some things a little bit different if you think you want to be brave enough to try it. So not everything is going to work for you today. Take what resonates with you and use it, right? We have time before the race to get more race prepared. We won't be able to gain any fitness between now and Sunday, but you can definitely get some mental skills and get more prepared to handle the effects of the race and how you perform on race day. And you've done all this training, why not take the time to be prepared for the race, right? To have an amazing experience. So I am here to support you, and no question is too silly. Like, I'll just take care of this question right now. No, you're not supposed to wear underwear underneath your tri suit, okay? That's always a question that comes up. Stay all the way to the end, as I mentioned, for that breathwork surprise. All right. So who's feeling a little bit anxious about the race? Maybe a few butterflies. Completely normal. I race a lot. I'm not actually racing for myself this weekend. I'm going to be pulling my friend Carrie, who's a quadriplegic. So I really don't get nervous when I race with her because it's not about my performance. It's more about being out there and enjoying the moment. But it's normal to have butterflies. And I like to use the word butterflies as opposed to being scared, right? Because we don't want to have fear rule our lives, right? So, use the word butterflies and let's try to get those butterflies to help us fly in formation and have a great race. And use the tips that I'm going to give you for the race as much as you can, right? Congratulations on taking this time out for yourself. And like I said, which distance of the tri are you doing? Are you doing the sprint, the international, the duathlon, or the aqua bike? If you can, I'm going to check the chat right now. Let me know what distance of the race you're doing. So type it in there if you're still here. Are you doing this? I think, Monsi, you're doing the sprint, duathlon. But Neil, let me know what distance of the race you're doing. We're going to go over both of the race courses, the duathlon sprint. Okay, so let me know what whoever else is here, what distance you're doing. We are going to be reviewing the distances. Okay. Oh, Anthony's doing the international. That's right. Okay. Anybody else? All right, cool. Okay, so a little bit about me real quick. So I'm Erin Guthrie. I am Chief Operational Officer at, actually I say Chief Motivational or Results Officer at Full Circle Coaching. I've been doing triathlons for over 28 years. This is actually going the end of my 28th year. This is my daughter Kaya, who's also a triathlete, but she's retired. She now plays tennis, but triathlon is my lifestyle, but I do have a life outside the sport. So it's really important to have balance. And that's where the logo in my, the yin and the yang in my logo really comes into play. So I did my first triathlon in 1997 and I literally fell in love with the sport because I was a gym rat and I was studying to get my master's in exercise physiology. And all I did was live inside. And when I did my first triathlon, I couldn't believe how good I felt, like being outside and like still being able to get fit, right? So I became one of the first 60 USA triathlon coaches in the country. They just offered a certification in 1999 for the first time. So I was in the second group of coaches they've ever had. And I've coached since then thousands of athletes. I've had 2 different businesses, one with a previous partner, and then this one on my own since 2010. And I've done over 360 races. I think it's 366 right now. This would be 367 this weekend. And I tell you, I love it. Like I love to race. I love the sport. And I just made it my lifestyle, but it is important to have balance, right? To not have that the sport take over your life. And so I do have a holistic lifestyle coaching certification as well. And I've learned how to balance life and have a life outside the sport. And I've helped my athletes do the same thing. So we do have a full team of coaches here in Miami, but we do train athletes all over the world. We have a 4-month triathlon transformation training program, which is amazing. Like it's really, really life-changing because we just encompass everything that you need to do to improve your swim, your bike, your run, your nutrition, and your strength to go from those 4 months to go on and tackle any distance of tri that you want to. Get faster in the sprint or the Olympic or get faster and stronger in the half or the full Ironman. We also do offer a beginner tri program. We actually are starting a cohort this coming Monday for Miami Man, which is 8 weeks away. So if you have a friend who wants to get into the sport, I would definitely recommend the beginner tri program. It's it's a lot of information, but it's basically to help them not get hurt and cross the finish line and feel amazing. So even if you've done 1 or 2 tries, it's still helpful. And you can do it for sprint or international distance. And then I have my Nutrition Essentials program, which is a holistic lifestyle program that basically helps people find that balance. And if you want to lose weight, gain weight, or just feel more energy, nutrition is key and lifestyle to support your training in the sport. And then I have my 12-week Run Essentials program, which we're starting in October to help get ready for the Miami Marathon and any of the spring running races. And then, of course, I have my Swim Essentials, which I'm kind of famous for. And I coach athletes. You can do the group program or have a more one-on-one experience. But anyway, I'd love to work with you. This is kind of a Venn diagram of how I do things. And if you are interested, you're going to get a recording of this webinar and you can set up a call with me. And of course, follow me on social media. We have a free Triathlon Obsessed Facebook group. I'm on Instagram and um, under Full Circle Coaching, and also YouTube. I have a great YouTube channel with tons of free content. This webinar is actually there too. So if you want to go get some other tips, but this is us at the state championships. We had quite a few, podiums. Our last race for this event, we had 12 podiums. Okay. No other coaching company in Miami had 12 podiums last race. So I will tell you, we know what we're doing. Okay, race week. So hopefully you've been tapering this week, right? You do want to rest. So the biggest thing I feel a lot of new triathletes don't do is rest enough. They want to train, and they even get to race day and they're exhausted, right? So this week, the week leading up to the race, is all about recovery. You are not going to gain much fitness, if any, really not. You will gain fitness if you rest. If you keep training, you will just burn yourself out. So lower volume of training this week, getting 8 hours of sleep a night, get your bike tuned up, change your tires if you feel like you might get a flat, get a massage for yourself, and write out a race plan, which we're going to teach you how to do that today. Now, the longer the race, the longer the taper. So I have some athletes that are training for the Ironman in California at the end of October. Their taper will be 2 to 3 weeks, depending on how much fitness they've accumulated, right? But for a sprint or an international, you can get away with 3 to 5 days of a taper. But every single person is individual, and every single race leading into every single race is different depending on how tired you are, right? So it also depends on if it's an A, B, or a C race, meaning an A race, you want to have the best race of your life. You want to taper more. You want to recover more. If it's a training race, like one of my coaches, Nico, he's actually training through this race. It's a C race. So he didn't lighten up his training that much this week, and he's still going to race on race day. So that's what a difference between an A race and a C race. And then you also want to have a little bit of a warm up the day before the race. And we're actually going to do a little one tomorrow as well to just shake off the cobwebs. And it's about a 30-minute workout, like a 20-minute to 30-minute bike with a 15 to 20-minute run with a few ORPs, over race pace pickups. And that's going to help you shake off the cobwebs and then be ready for Sunday. So I do also recommend taking Friday off before a Sunday race. Yeah. So race day checklist, you guys are going to get one of these in your packet when you pick up your packet. So use it. I created this race day checklist for myself because I was tired of showing up at races, forgetting stuff. I have been to races where I forgot my my running shoes. That was a fun race. I actually had a PR that day because I drove all the way home, drove back, missed the swim start, and I still had a great race because my adrenaline was so high. But anyway, the most important thing on this list is have a great day, right? Smile, have fun. Remember to be nice to your fellow racers, be polite. That's the whole point. Nobody's getting paid. No pros are out there on Sunday. This is all for fun. So let's review your race plan and what it is. So a race plan is basically a map for your race on Sunday. So write out everything from the morning before the race to the end of the race. And I have my athletes do that and send it to me to review. We review nutrition, we review heart rate, pace, power zones on the bike. We want to have all the details planned out before the race so that the race is actually like pretty effortless. You're just following your own map, right? When you set your goals for each section of the race, you might want to have a time. Maybe you want to break an hour for the sprint try. Well, you need to break it up and find out, well, how fast do you have to swim? How fast do you have to bike? How fast do you have to run to break the hour, right? You need to know where that sub 1 hour performance is coming from. And you need to decide, is this race going to be a PR race or are you doing it as a training day like we talked about before? And also, when you set your goals, you're going to have individual goals too, meaning goals for the swim, goals for the bike, goals for the run. It's really important to make them positive, meaning instead of writing out, I hope I don't suck, you would say, I hope I stay strong. I have good energy and stay strong the whole race, right? Or you would say, I hope I don't drown. That's a negative goal. You could say, I want to swim freestyle the whole swim without having to revert to breaststroke or flipping on my back. So that's an example of like more of a positive process goal for each section of the race. And so for the bike, it might be to stay aero the whole time, even climbing the bridge. And on the run, it might be fast arms, fast feet, and no walking. Like that could be your goals for each section of the race. And then you also definitely want to include what nutrition you're going to use, your warm up, like we talked about, your race paces, heart rate, power zones on the bike, and then your heart rate and paces on the run. Okay. So I use this app called TriCalc3. You can look it up right now. It's not an app, it's a website, www.tricalc3.com. And it's just a tool that I use, and we use the tool to help us have that result on race day. So it's kind of cool because some of my athletes can predict their races within 3 seconds. I've had an Ironman athlete predict their race within 5 minutes, which is hard to do. And then a half Ironman athlete predict their race within 2 minutes, which is pretty amazing. So the sprint and Olympic internationals, you can usually predict your race within 3 to 5 seconds. And I always make a little competition with my athletes. And you definitely want to write out any concerns. Like you want to plan for what you think could happen today. So for example, if you're worried about getting a flat tire, number one, check your tires, look for any gashes. How old are your tires? Are they super worn out? Is it time to get a new set of tires? Because the likelihood of you getting a flat on a new set of tires is very low. And then after that, learn how to change a flat and bring your flat tire kit, right? So that's another way to solve the problem. If you're worried about a panic in the swim, do my breath work that I'm going to show you at the end, but also practice. Maybe on Friday, we do have open water swim. You guys are welcome to join me. But you could practice the panic, like really getting out of breath and pushing hard. And then what would you do to come out of that? Would you flip over on your back to breathe, or would you rest with a lifeguard, or would you swim breaststroke? You want to have a solution to any problem that you think could happen, so that, it's not going to affect you or have a negative race. Okay. I had a girl that was at age group nationals, and this exact thing happened. She didn't get to start her race until 9:30. They had a delay because of fog. And so her warm up was, she didn't feel warmed up, and she had a long sleeve wetsuit on, and she kind of had like hyperventilation, and she was able to totally calm herself down because we had practiced that in training. What would you do if you start to hyperventilate? And she went on to have a great swim and have a great overall race. But anyway, so this is the TriCalc3. So what you would do is you select the distance, and you want to put in the distance. This is not correct. So for this race, it's a 500-meter swim. You could put in your pace per 100. The bike is only 8 miles. So I will say that it's a very short bike course. And then the run is like 2.8 miles. So you would put in those distances and then the paces, and then here's your total down here. So for this person, maybe the goal could be in the future if they wanted to do this race at 1:37 this time, and they'll break this, and then they know what they can do next time, right? What could they do differently for the next race to have a PR? All right, what to wear. So definitely don't want to be wearing baggy clothes. You have tri-specific gear that you can put on. So sleeved tri-suits are warmer. You do get hotter, but they are faster. So you will go faster in the water and on the bike wearing this versus this, but this is cooler. And this is also 2-piece. So if you do have to go to the bathroom a lot, like long course athletes like to usually wear a 2-piece tri-suit. And just remember, in a short course race like this one, you don't have to have your torso covered. Like the guys could just wear tri shorts if you wanted to. The girls can just wear a jog bra, but you have to wear a jog bra and tri shorts. And again, no underwear under here. It just causes a lot of problems to have that underwear on. And they're not designed to be worn with underwear, but it's preference for sure, what you like. So long sleeve or sleeved or not sleeved. And then speed suit or wetsuit. Obviously, we're not wetsuit legal today or this weekend because the water's really warm. It's like in the high 80s, low 90s. But you can wear a speed suit, and a speed suit is really, really thin like material, and it repels the water. So you will go faster when you wear a speed suit. And then obviously, if it is going to be wetsuit legal, I do recommend always wearing a wetsuit because you always go faster with a wetsuit. But it's important to train with a wetsuit because it does, cause more compression on your lungs and your arms. And if you're not used to that, you can kind of freak out and have a panic attack. So race prep, pick up your packet. I'm pretty sure you can go to Max Cycle and pick up your packet, I think today, all the way up to race day. There will be packet pickup the day before the race as well. Definitely want to check out what's in your packet. You will have that tip from me. There's actually a little video on there as well. And the race checklist, you'll get a swim cap according to a color, according to your age group and what swim, wave start you'll go with. So always make sure your swim cap color matches the people that are with you that are starting the race. And you'll have your race numbers. Sometimes they have tattoos and sometimes they don't. The tattoos are kind of cool because you don't have to worry about getting Sharpie on your tri kit. And the best way to take off a tattoo is with a little oh my gosh, the tape. You put tape on it and then you rip it off and the tattoo comes right off. A little tip for you. So helmet number, bike number, which goes on your bike. I'm going to show you a picture of that. And then you have a run number, which I recommend getting a run belt. And then you're going to have a timing chip. Your timing chip is going to go on your left ankle. Really, really important concept because you don't want to get your timing chip, which is Velcro and has a strap. If that opens up at all, it could get caught in your chain ring. So you just want to always play it safe and put it on your left ankle. And I always use an additional safety pin to make sure it stays on because there's many times that your ankle gets bumped and stuff in the swim where it could actually fall off and then you don't have a tracker and they usually charge you for the timing chip, which sucks. And you'll pick it up the race morning. And let me check the chat. Oh, Olympics, C race for you. Okay, yeah, because you're doing the half Ironman, Neil. Awesome. Okay, cool. So if you have any questions about anything I've mentioned so far, let me know. And then also the swag. So you might get some gels or something good in there, but sometimes the stuff isn't really high quality. So just not everything is something you want to try. And don't try it if you've never tried it before. It could mess up your stomach, right? So it's your responsibility to know the race course. And luckily we have the maps. And, if you're not local to Miami, there are some people that are coming into town for the race. Like I have an athlete coming in from, I think she's from, I don't remember. She came to Tri Camp, but she's from like Tennessee, I think. But anyway, so it's a good idea to check out the bike course when you get here. And if you can, check out the run course because you want to know the turns and where the water stations are and that good stuff. But here is an image. All this stuff is on the website. So here's the transition area and it's actually been moved a little bit farther to the right. So this is the causeway, right? The Rickenbacker Causeway. So this is, you're going to arrive down here and you're going to, come in here. And this is where you're going to park. So you're going to pull in here and park. So actually you drive down here and this is where you enter, cut across. And then this is all parking. So you want to park in here. You have to pay for parking. You will get a ticket. Okay. So even on race day, you will definitely get a ticket. It's an expensive ticket. I think it's like $36. So pay the parking. You will forget. And then this is where the transition area is and all the results and everything. The big van will be set up over here. Okay. So then this is the swim start. So this is an image of where the transition area was. So, you come out of the swim right here, you come through here, and then the transition area is right here. Sorry, it's like right there. So anyway, for the sprint distance try, you're going to walk from the beach. Actually, you're not going to walk. I recommend swimming to the swim start. So you're going to get in the water at the exit and swim down. It's 500 meters, right? Great time to warm up, go slow, include those orps. And then here's the swim start. You would line up on the beach right here. They do the national anthem and then you go wait 1 or 2 persons at a time. So it's not a mass start. And then you're going to go out. This is usually really, really shallow. So you would walk or run. And I recommend swimming as soon as possible. Make that right-hand turn. It gets deeper here. And then you would swim, swim, swim. The buoys will be lined up. And then you take this final right-hand turn to the beach. So just be wary that it has been very seaweedy. So be ready for some seaweed, okay? And you just swim right through it. There's really not much you can do about it. So the international, you're going to start on the beach and you're going to go left around that first buoy and then you're going to go down. This is where you make a U-turn. This is where the sprint start is. Again, it's shallow. Usually you have to stand up to get around that buoy and then you head back. So the sprint is 500 and this is 1,000, obviously there and back. And again, just be ready for some seaweed. Last race was probably the best swim conditions we've had. It was like glass, but it was a little smelly, right? Because when there's heat and seaweed, it kind of rots. So it does smell bad, but it was actually like really, really nice swim. So anyway, so this is the duathlon. So Monsi, you're going to be doing the 1 mile run, which I think you've done this race before. So you would come down here and do a loop around the track and then head back into transition for that 1 mile before the bike. And here's the bike. So here's the transition area. You get out on the causeway, you're going to go all the way down. You're going to go over the bridge, make a U-turn about 200 yards after the bridge and come back up. We're going to talk about cycling strategy in a minute. And then you make your turn back into transition. And then here's the run course. And it says 3 miles, but I will tell you it's not. It's like they keep trying to make it 3 miles, but every race it's like 2.8. So it's nice when you cross the finish line, you're usually faster than you thought you would be. But there is some turns and stuff, and there are only 2 aid stations. So basically the aid stations are right here. So you're going to hit it on the way out, get some water, and then you're going to go around the park down here, and then you're going to get water again on the way back. I will tell you this section of the run, this tube section, very hot, very, very hot, no shade. So definitely don't skip this aid station. And then the international is 2 loops of the same exact run. Don't forget the second loop. I've had athletes not realize it, but you definitely have to do 2 loops of the run. So I have a little race bag that I put together that I just always keep ready for the race. No matter what, I always have an extra visor, an extra swim cap to mark my transition area. I always bring extra bike lights because I sometimes like to warm up on my bike when it's dark outside. I want to make sure I don't get hit by a car. Extra food. A lot of time there is a race delay, like in USAT Nationals, there was a 30-minute race delay. So if you hadn't eaten enough food, you could end up hungry during the race. I do recommend extra sunscreen, of course, reef safe and healthy sunscreen for your skin, no chemical sunscreens. I always bring in extra CO2 and a crack pipe because I used to race with a disc wheel, which requires this kind of a adapter. Anti-fog, be careful with this stuff because it can get in your eyes. And then I always bring extra goggles and electrical tape, and always bring my contacts, and then some Vaseline, non-petroleum Vaseline, just in case I might get a blister. I don't race with socks, so I put a little baby powder and Vaseline inside my shoes to prevent any chafing. I, of course, will bring my speed suit if I'm, wanting to go fast, or wetsuit, defogger, everything else we kind of went over. So let's talk about the visor versus a baseball cap. So visor way better, especially in the heat. 20% of the heat escapes from the top of your head. If you have a baseball cap on, you are really restricting your ability to cool off. So definitely a big fan of a visor over the baseball cap. So these are the numbers you're going to have. So this little number goes on the very front of your helmet. This number is your run number. You only need this number across the finish line on the run. And then this is the number that goes on your bike. So you can see this is the front of my helmet. This number is really important. If you want to get a photo of yourself on the bike, the only way they will be able to identify you is with that number on the front of the helmet. This is an example of a run belt. So you would have this number, grab it after you get off the bike as you're going out the run, and put it on in the front as you cross the finish line. And then I'll show you an example of the bike sticker. We talked about 2 days before the race, having a day off, the day before the race. So that Friday night is really the night to get the sleep, because it's normal to not sleep good on Saturday night, the night before the race, totally fine. Review your checklist, get all your gear together, and kind of, take them after you do your morning warm up with a couple orps. If you guys want to meet us, I will be on race course. I'll be at the transition area on Saturday morning at 7, and we do a little short workout, 10-15-minute swim, 15-minute bike, 10-15-minute run with a couple orps, and we're out of there. We do not hang around, but it can kind of just help shake off the cobwebs. And you don't drop your bike off at this race, you take it with you. But here's an example of my transition area, very clean, right? You don't have a lot of stuff. There's no picnic benches. There are no picnic blankets. I'm making a joke, but everything is ready and set to go. I do have a video demonstrating this that we will take a look at. Oh, Fabian, you made it. Yay. So Fabian, I didn't realize you were doing the international. Awesome. So tomorrow, Neil, yeah, so tomorrow is Thursday. We're doing a brick. So at 6 a.m., if you want to do a short brick to prep for the race, you can do that. And then Saturday, we will be on the race course at the transition site, right there at 7. And we're going to run through a short swim, a short bike, and a short run. Totally welcome to join us. So anybody who's on here. So this is the actual transition area that you guys will see. And this long line of bikes, there's 4 racks like that. And, in the past, like during COVID, they had 1 rack at a time, which I kind of liked, and only three bikes per rack. And I will tell you, it's so nice, not crowded. So it is a little crowded. You can see how smushed together everybody is. So that's why I always bring my little brightly colored swim cap, because I get lost sometimes, or it's really important when you get there on race morning to really remember, okay, I'm the second rack from the left. And if you get confused, you can always look at your race number and find it. But don't be surprised if sometimes you lose your bike. It does happen. And those are my crazy athletes. So let's talk about nutrition. So go ahead, and I'm going to take a quick sip of water, but I'd love to hear what you guys are going to have for breakfast. Just because it can make or break your performance. If you're not fueling, you will not have a great day. You got to put gas in the car. And Neil, tomorrow is where we used to meet, same spot for the bike. So just over the big bridge to the right, parking at the bottom of the bridge. Meet us there at 6, ready to ride at 6. Okay. And then the brick for Saturday is at the race site in Crandon, North Beach. Okay. So I'm waiting. Who's going to share their breakfast with me? Come on, don't be shy. Let's see. Bananas, oatmeal, dates, hydration. Okay, good, good, good. Anybody else? Anybody else brave enough? Banana and hydration. Okay. What's Hydrosty? I don't know what that is. But, and just hot. Oh, protein shake and banana. Okay, cool. So dates and an apple, I think, and a banana, or an egg and banana, Monty. Okay, so Monty is kind of on to me a little bit because of all the things that you guys put. Only one person put any protein, right? So Monty, you get bonus points. So you guys, it's really important to fuel with real food when you're at home, right? You're going to have sports nutrition all day long. So I like that everybody put real food as their breakfast, but I'm a huge fan of using fat and protein as part of your breakfast to kind of counterbalance all the sugar you're going to have on the race. And most likely you're going to have sugar after the race as your reward. So highly recommend having a little bit more protein and or fat with your breakfast. And just as a caveat, I'm not a fan of oatmeal, right? So yes, oatmeal, the most important, pre-race meal of the world. Well, unfortunately, oatmeal, it has tons of pesticide in it, and glyphosate, and it honestly is a non-food. It has no nutrient density. Yeah, it's got fiber in it, but as far as nutrients, nada, right? So I prefer to fuel with two eggs and a half a sweet potato with some butter in it, or a banana, right? So keep it clean, keep it real, 1 ingredient food. If I'm doing a longer race, I will have a whole sweet potato or beets. Beets are an awesome pre-race breakfast, but combined with the eggs. You want the protein from the eggs. And even avocado is an awesome, some people have done, I've done this before as well, but smoked salmon with avocado, awesome fat-based pre-race meal, digests very quickly and gives you tons of energy. So do what works for you. Of course, don't change anything new on race day, but if you want to try like tomorrow morning before you do your brick, if you want to have 2 eggs and a banana, you might feel amazing and want to try that on race day, right? So definitely want to be hydrating from now until race day. I love coconut water. Of course, 1 ingredient coconut water, not the one that has any kind of flavoring or any additives. And it definitely additional sea salt on your food and on your in your water bottles. big fan of electrolytes, but only healthy electrolytes. There are not, all electrolytes are not created equal. And my favorite brand is Body Health. Not a fan of Noon, not a fan of Element, just because they're made with synthetic electrolytes. So that's why I love Body Health, because there's no artificial colors or sweeteners and it tastes good. So for lunch, I really recommend on Saturday having your lunch be the biggest meal of the day, just so you don't feel so heavy, and you can usually sleep a little bit better if you don't have a big heavy meal. Not a fan of a big pasta meal the night before, another shocker, right? So having, just a general protein, fat, and carbs lunch, right? For example, sweet potato again, grass-fed beef, some turkey, some shrimp, some chicken, some fish, whatever protein you choose, and then some cooked vegetables. Definitely want to stay away from any kind of salad, big salad, or lots of roughage the day before a race, because it could come back to haunt you on race day, if you know what I mean. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. So any questions? These are just some examples of breakfast. So if someone has a hard time digesting eggs, you could always do like a chia seed pudding and add your own protein to it. Here's my favorite one, adding some almond butter instead of real butter, but either one is good fat. And some people prefer a smoothie, right? But definitely want to have some protein, carbs, and fat. I do have a good blog on my website in my tried and true breakfast, right? Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. And then even the morning of the race, I do recommend not necessarily a bike warm up, but definitely want to have some calories in your water bottle and not just rely on water. Just because the hotter it is, the more you're sweating, the higher your heart rate, the more calories you burn to help keep your body temperature down. Okay. So heat requires calorie burn. So if you don't have any, calories during the race, you might run out of energy. So guidelines for drinking, obviously don't drink too close to the race start, because you will end up having to go to the bathroom on the bike. So what I recommend is about 20 minutes before the race, you have your last gel with some water. I use maple syrup or the Muir gels, MUIR gels, just because they have the cleanest ingredients. No caffeine then. I do have my caffeine earlier, but not right before the race, because it definitely can spike your heart rate. And then we'll go over when to have a gel for the run or the bike and the run to help you last through the race. Definitely don't want to have a bar you can have a bar on the bike, right? Because it's easier to chew while you're pushing. But honestly, if you're pushing in a sprint or Olympic, to me, it's too hard to chew. So I'll only stick with gels on the bike. And then on the run, since it's a 5K that I usually do, I wouldn't have another gel. But for anybody who's doing the international, I would recommend maybe 2 gels on the bike, or 1 gel on the bike and then 1 gel at the very beginning of the run. It depends on how fast you are, because remember, it takes 20 minutes for that gel to help you. So if you take a gel at mile 3 or 4 on the run, it's not going to help you finish the race stronger. You're going to feel really excited and energized after the race. So any questions about nutrition? Let's look here. Let's look. No questions. Dates, eggs, and banana. Yeah, so Monsi, you win the prize for at least including some protein. And if you can get 2 eggs in there, I'd be even happier. And then Lucia, I'd love to know what kind of protein you're using in your shake, and at least you have some carbohydrates. And having a little fat in there could be helpful too. So protein powders are kind of sneaky. Make sure they're not filled with any emulsifiers that taste that are not good for you. So who drinks coffee? So run through recommendations again for gels during the race. No problem, Neil. Yeah, Monsi, coffee. Yeah, me too. Okay, so let's go back to timing of the nutrition. So I recommend 20 minutes before the swim, you're going to have a maple syrup packet, 1 ingredient, organic maple syrup. What could be better, right? It's a smooth carbohydrate going right into your bloodstream, or a gel that you've trained with. Okay. So when should I take the raisins during the race? So here's the deal. Raisins and dates have a lot of fiber, and they're very concentrated, and they're hard to eat. But if you're committed to doing that instead of a gel, that's totally fine. And you can time it the same time as the gels, Lucia. So what it's going to look like is 20 minutes before the swim, I would have like 2 to 3 dates, right? And everybody else, you're going to have a gel or the maple syrup. Then you're going to finish the swim. Even if you're doing the international, If you're doing the international, you might be out there like 15 to 20 minutes as opposed to like 10 to 15 minutes, right? For the sprint, depending on how fast you are, but still not long enough that you need to eat anything. The next time I would recommend having a gel is you're going to go out on the bike, go over the bridge, come back over the bridge and eat right then, because you have a lot of momentum and speed from coming down the bridge. And it kind of gives you a little few seconds that you can have your second gel. Now, if you're doing the international, you're going to do that loop again. It's up to you if you want to have a second gel on the bike, same location. Or if you're doing the sprint, I don't think you need anything else unless your run is going to take you more than 30 minutes. You could have another gel at the beginning of the run. And then for the international, same thing. You could have a gel at the beginning of the run if you're going to be out there more than an hour, right? But typically you want to eat every 30 to 35, 40 minutes, depending on the race. I hope I answered questions. All right, cool. So caffeine, we never got to this topic yet, but so caffeine is a legal ergogenic aid. And if you don't use caffeine now, don't start. It's definitely something you don't want to try for the first time on a race, because you're already anxious and excited and those butterflies are flapping, right? It can actually spike your heart rate so that you have a terrible race. So if you do already drink coffee, I definitely recommend drinking it race morning. I'm a big fan of having fat with the coffee, so there's a smoother entry of the caffeine into your bloodstream. So I have butter coffee before the race, and then I don't have any more caffeine until the gel on the bike. I do have caffeine there because I do want to have a stronger run off the bike. And your caffeine will have worn off by then, because you're going to have your caffeine like around 4:30 in the morning, right? So timing the caffeine is important. Same thing for the Olympic. I would wait to have the caffeine gel if you're going to have 2 gels on the bike or the very beginning of the run, and it will help you stay mentally and physically focused. The other benefit of caffeine is it actually helps you burn fat as a fuel source, and fat gives you more calories of energy per gram. So 1 gram of fat gives you 9 calories of energy. So you can have a better engine going from having fat. So definitely try the butter in your coffee. So never try anything new on race day. Follow your plan that you wrote out. So if you guys, I would really recommend writing out so what I have my athletes do is I have like a kind of a form that they fill out, but they also just do it on their notes and they'll send it to me right on the phone. Make it simple, make it, simple to follow. And then you can make adjustments as you feel like you need to after you do your race warm-ups tomorrow and or Saturday. So obviously you're not going to have 700 calories of a breakfast before a sprint or an international, but guess what? For an Ironman, you need 700 calories for breakfast. So don't do that this weekend, but definitely 300 calories, combination of fat, protein, and carbs, like we talked about. Definitely want to have something you've eaten before. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. The reason I put timing chip by your toothbrush is because they used to give us our timing chips and sometimes people would forget them. So hopefully everybody's brushing their teeth, but we don't have to worry about that. Body marking yourself. So say you mess up the tattoo, like you put the tattoo on wrong or you forgot to take the plastic off, you can always body mark yourself. And they usually have people with Sharpies at the race site if you need to be body marked. And then pumping up your tires. So this is old recommendation. I'm an old school triathlete, as you know. I've been doing this for a really long time. And they used to recommend putting your tires to 120 PSI, and for a disc wheel or glue-on wheel, 150. And that's just not the case anymore. They actually recommend only 90 PSI, but you definitely want to have your tires blown up for the race, because the flatter the tire, the more resistance and the slower you will go. So I recommend getting to the race site at least by 5:30. That's like the latest you want to get there. It just gives you time to do everything you need, go to the bathroom, check out the transition area. Anything that comes up, you're going to be able to handle it. You're already going to be body marked with a tattoo unless something happened. You're going to pick up your packet, you're going to pick up your ankle chip, and then find your transition area and kind of get everything set up. Now, I don't recommend doing a bike warm up on this particular course because can be a little bit dangerous on the bike course, but I definitely recommend warming up with a run before you set up your transition area, and always check your helmet to make sure it is legal. And then always leave your bike in an easy gear, right? So you don't want to have your bike in the hardest gear when you first get on it. So make sure it's high, it's easy resistance as you first mount your bike so that you can take off and then build speed. So race day continued. We talked about the bike. We're going to skip that one for this race, but run, definitely want to run to the bathroom, do a couple pickups, 3 or 4 by 1 minute accelerations after you've run for 5 minutes. Game changer as far as how your breathing calms down, your anxiety lessens. You actually can have a better swim by getting this run warm up in. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Set up your transition area. Are you going to wear socks? If you've never raced with no socks, please don't do it on Sunday, but definitely something to learn because your transitions are super fast with no socks. I have a video at the end that I'll show you about how to prevent blisters. And then set up your transition area in order of use. Okay. Your sunglasses open, ready to put on your head, your helmet unbuckled, ready to put on your head the right way, not backwards. Watch out for your neighbors. It does get really crowded in transition. And again, just be nice to people. If you want to move someone's bike, always ask permission. And then grab all your swim gear. So if your race is starting at 7, you want to be on the beach by 6:40 at the latest, because you need to get a 10-minute warm up in, recover. And then if your race is starting at 7, you'll be ready to go. I think the international starts a little bit early. So you might have to get to the beach at like 6:30, right? Mandatory swim warm up. Do not skip the swim warm up. You're going to thank me later. And visualize your race plan. So I will include, have a really cool race day meditation that I will include with the video. It's awesome. You guys are going to love it. Okay, so things to consider. Are you going to leave your shoes in the pedal? Again, not something to do unless you've practiced. Socks or no socks. Pacing. Pacing is huge. Many athletes go out way too fast and then blow up and have to crawl home, right? That old adage of start fast, finish last, very true. You want to hold back and build each sport as you go through it. You will have a great day. We talked about the chip on the left ankle, wearing a speed suit or not. This is a big one, clear or tinted goggles. I will tell you, the international distance race, the sun will barely be up. I recommend clear, not tinted goggles, so you can see really well, sight as much as you need just to hold that really straight line, right? Even the sprint, you're never going to be facing the sun when you're swimming. I do recommend a clear goggle versus a super tinted dark goggle. Always anchor your goggles underneath your swim cap in case they get bumped and you don't want to lose them. And then elastic laces in the running shoes is a game changer as well to have a super fast transition. You want to be able to just slide your feet right in your sneakers like slippers without having to tie them. Okay. And then how to ride the bridge. Let's talk about that real quick. So real quick, how to ride the bridge. There's 2 ways to do it. Monsi and I were just talking about this. She likes to hit it hard and pass everybody on the way up and then recover on the way down. And I'm asking her to switch it up this time because I'd rather you hold back, drop a gear and spin more on the way up so that when you get to the top, everybody else that passed you is completely gassed and they're not able to take advantage of the downhill. But you were smart and you held back, you kept your heart rate down. And when you got to the top, you're grabbing gears and you're flying down the other side. Now, all based on your ability to handle speed, of course. But I will tell you, that's always the best way to kill the bridge, rather than blowing up at the top and recovering. You're going downhill. You don't want to coast downhill. You want to pedal downhill and go really, really fast. All right. So any questions so far about the bike and where we are in the race? Are you guys good? Well, I got a question. Okay, no problem. All right, so race start, ready, set, go. So your warm-up's complete. You are at the beach. And one more potty break. The good news is you can always go in the ocean. And then you're going to line up with your wave start. Do not start at the end of your group. Get in the front 5. There is it's not a mass swim start. Okay, those are gone, except they did have it at nationals. This race is not a mass swim start. You start one person at a time. Get within the first 5 people of your age group or your swim cap color. There's no reason to start late. Okay, just make that commitment. If someone's faster than you, they're just going to swim around you. Don't worry about it. Okay, so one more potty break. We talked about that. And then you decide, are you going to centered and visualize your race, or are you going to be social and talk to others? Positive self-talk, right? Always positive self-talk. For me, I'm long and strong is my mantra on the swim. Kick, perfect circles and stay arrow are my mantras on the bike. And then on the run, it's fast arms, fast feet, and fall forward. So come up with those mantras for yourself. I am going to ask you guys to share your mantras at the end. So let's see what they are. So I will be racing with Carrie. This is Carrie right here this weekend. She is a quadriplegic and she loves triathlon. She actually has 3 world records. She's done 3 Ironmans in 3 days. She's a total badass and she loves to race. So I will be racing with her this weekend. If you guys ever want to be a part of Team Thumbs Up and participate in a relay or do the whole thing with Carrie or Brett or one of the other challenged athletes, it's a great experience and it's a way to really experience the race in a different way because you don't really care about how you do anymore because it's all about them really experiencing life. She can't do anything on her own. She can't brush her teeth. She can't take a sip of water. She has no access to her arms or her legs. So she gets to feel so alive when she gets to race. And we've had some fun adventures. Okay, so swim, we talked about no wetsuit, swim color cap, goggles underneath, no fins. Fins are illegal, but actually you are allowed to race with a snorkel if you need to. And definitely, we talked about this, but you don't have to worry about that. You're going to get up in the first 5 people for the swim. Do not wait. Now, sighting, making sure you're sighting every 5 to 10 strokes so you stay on course, okay? So sighting, you want to make sure one hand is out in front, you're picking your head up and looking in the direction of the buoy. If you don't see it, put your head back down, take another stroke, and then look again. Don't sit there doing breaststroke for 5 strokes. You're just creating a lot of drag. Now, if it's your first race and you need to do that, that's fine, but just know that there is a skill to sight and stay straight. And the good news is if you do get out of breath or you get discombobulated, you can always rest with a lifeguard. It's totally legal. You don't get penalized in any way. So when you make that right hand turn and you start heading towards the beach, you do want to kick a little bit extra because you've been horizontal. Sometimes you can get dizzy. So when you kick a little extra, you go to stand up, the blood gets pumped to your head and you can kind of stabilize yourself a little bit better. And remember to swim until 2 hands touch the sand. Do not stand up too early because you waste a lot of energy walking through the water rather than just swimming all the way to shore. So this is what the olden days looked like of a swim start, and it was crazy. I can tell you, of all of my 360 races, I probably have had 5 super terrible swim starts where I just went out too fast and blew up, and you do feel like you're going to die. So it's not a joke that people do die during the swim portion of a triathlon. So your safety is really number one, and you do want to pace yourself accordingly. And like I said, this doesn't happen anymore because it's 1 or 2 swimmers at a time. So if you do get a panic attack, the number one thing to remember is to blow out, like blow your bubbles. Because when you blow out, then you're going to be able to get a chance to breathe in. And sometimes when we have a panic, we just breathe in and we forget to breathe out. So when we breathe out, we relax. And if you can, you're going to blow out bubbles through your nose because your nose is calming, right? Switch to breaststroke as you need. Roll over on your back as you need. And remember to try to keep kicking gently. You can get out of the way of all the swimmers and go rest with a lifeguard. And then you could swim from lifeguard to lifeguard and finish the race. I had a girl who really wasn't strong on the swim. And that's what she did her very first race is she's just dog paddled from lifeguard to lifeguard just to experience it. But if this happens, right, if you do have a panic attack, it just means you didn't warm up enough, number one, or you just don't simply have the fitness and you push too hard too soon. So the name of the game to swim fast is to swim smooth. The smoother you swim, the water will let you right through and you will be amazed at how quickly you can swim. So transition 1, you're not going to have to worry about a wetsuit, but you do want to try to run up the beach, right? That is a skill. And we don't have to worry about wetsuits. So find your bike. The transition area is about, I'd say 200 yards from the beach to the transition area, maybe a little bit more, 250 yards. So it can take your breath away. Walk as needed. Find your bike, get your sunglasses on, put your helmet on and clip it. And then put your bike shoes on and grab your bike and go. So I do have a little video. This is me doing a quick transition. So bike shoes on first. Sunglasses on and open. Helmet facing the right way. You will see someone on the race with their helmet on backwards. Buckled. You can't touch your bike unless you have your helmet buckled. Okay. Then you're going to run with your bike to the end of the transition. You go outside of the transition area, clip in, and go. So I'm just going to pause here real quick. So one of my athletes at this last race, he did exactly this, and someone who was less experienced ran right into him during this part and messed up his derailleur. He had to get off his bike and adjust his gears. He was stuck in one gear the whole bike. So it's worth it for you to get out a little bit from the transition line and move to the right to get out of everybody's way so that nothing like that happens, okay? So this is where you want to leave your bike in an easy gear, right? So it's easy to accelerate, right? Push down, get clipped in and pedal, pedal, pedal. Coming back in, safely dismount at the line and walk or run with your bike back to the transition. Find your transition spot. And then again, helmet off. Don't run with your helmet on. Undo your shoes. And quick slip on running shoes with my elastic laces. I'm off. That's it. Bye. So I didn't grab my run belt and my visor, but I do in the next video. So let's talk about bike safety. You guys, another place that accidents happen, okay? Safety, safety, safety on the bike. You never grab your bike unless your helmet is buckled, and you have to keep it buckled the entire bike until you're back at your transition and you rack your bike. You do not touch your buckle again. So you always have to ride on the right-hand side of the road and you pass on the left. Now this bike course is very crowded. There are 4 lanes of cycling traffic, okay? So how it looks is you're gonna come out on the bike course and you're riding out toward the city. There's gonna be cyclists coming back towards you that are in the race. Excuse me, there's 3. And then there's public cycling traffic also coming towards you, going towards the city. So you have to be aware of all those lanes of cycling traffic and make sure there's no head-on collisions, okay? So you're going to stay on the right-hand side of the road, pass on the left. It is illegal to draft, okay? So what that means is you are not allowed to get behind another cyclist. I have a video to demonstrate. But you have 15 seconds to pass the cyclist in front of you, and then you can cut back in front of them. You're not trying to cut them off, but no drafting. Okay, taking your turn. So there is a U-turn at the bottom of the bridge. You want to slow down and take that turn nice and wide and try not to pass people during that turn, just for safety, right? Take the turn at your level of experience. And then of course you want to hydrate and eat, while you're on the bike as opposed to in transition, but do it in times where it's safe. You don't want to eat or drink climbing the bridge or descending the bridge. You would want to do it on the flat straightaway. Start in an easy gear. And remember to end in an easy gear too. So as you come back into the parking lot or right before you turn, I recommend getting your RPMs, over 90 to help you get ready to run off the bike. Dismount before the line, and then be careful if you're not going to leave your shoes on the bike. You want to run carefully in your run shoes to find your spot in transition. But that is also a really good skill to have, to leave your shoes on the bike. So we talked about no drafting on the bike. Any questions about drafting? I do recommend before you pass anyone, always look over your left shoulder to make sure no one's passing you, because that's a common accident where someone just passes a cyclist and they swing way out and they might come into oncoming traffic and or get bumped by someone that's passing them. So communication never fails you. Talk about it. On your left, move right, coming through, be nice, but just communicate. Now, remember, if you are being passed, you cannot accelerate to prevent that person from passing you. That is illegal. You have to let that person pass and then get 3 bike lengths ahead of you. Then you can pass back, but you can't pass until they're out of your draft zone. Okay. If someone passes you, you can't get on their wheel and draft them and then pass them. That is illegal. So there's a video about it too. Okay, so watch this real quick.
USAT has many rules regulating the sport of triathlon. The rules that you'll need to be aware of while on the bike are the ones governing drafting and positioning. When riding in a triathlon, it is stated that you must ride to the far right side of the road and only pass on the left. When you're passing another cyclist in a race, you only have 15 seconds. That means once you initiate a pass, your front wheel must break the plane of the front wheel of the rider being passed. In passing someone who is just slightly slower than you, make certain to gather your strength and make a firm pass where you'll be able to move to the right after the pass. If someone passes you quite fast, that is no problem whatsoever. You will not have to alter your riding at all. If you want to repass the rider, you must first move out of the drafting zone before mounting your counterattack.
All right, so any questions about drafting? How do I get out of here? Okay, cool. Let me go here. Chat, no questions. Okay, so just don't be caught drafting. It's if you want to do a draft legal race, go participate in a draft legal race. Don't cheat, okay? Thank you. All right, transition 2, flying dismount or dismount safely and find your bike spot, your transition spot. I've actually racked my bike in the wrong spot and I actually got a penalty. And remember, don't take off your helmet until your bike is racked. Then you're gonna, I leave my shoes on the bike so I don't have to take my bike shoes off, but obviously you would take your bike shoes off just like I showed in the video. And then you would grab your visor, your race belt and run out of transition. There is usually an aid station at the end of the run, and you definitely want to grab, there is actually, so I was wrong. There's more than one aid station as you leave the run, excuse me, as you start the run, as you leave out of T2, there is water there too. So I would definitely grab some when you first start the race. And headphones are not allowed. You can get a penalty. You're not allowed to wear headphones in any portion of the race. All right, what video is this? Let's see if it's gonna pop. So this is a more advanced video of me. I'm just demonstrating if you had a wetsuit on. And I'm leaving my shoes on the bike for this transition. The loop in the back of a tri-shoe, that's what it's for, to grab it with your finger so you can slide your foot in there. And then when you come off, you do the reverse. You put your foot on top and then pedal in. It's actually very easy to learn. And that's it. Okay, so any questions about the transitions and drafting? You guys good? I don't see any questions. All right, cool. We're almost done. We're almost done with the race. So pacing is racing, right? So we talked about this, start fast, finish last, take each discipline at your ability. If you're not the best swimmer, focus on your technique and then go kill the bike in the run, right? Know your zones, know your heart rate zone where you're going to blow up. So if you know that you're good at a 170 heart rate and you look down and you see 178, don't keep pushing. You're going to blow up and you're going to end up walking, right? Even if you need, you can even plan walk breaks, but stick to your plan. Know your pace on the swim, know your pace on the run, and know your power if you have a power meter on the bike. It's good to know where your edge is so you don't go over it. Make sure you got your nutrition and hydration really dialed in. So you always have more than you think you do. So there's a great book called How Bad Do You Want It by Matt Fitzgerald. And I have it on audio. And it's just awesome stories about how people did way more amazing things in their lifetime than they ever thought possible. Like they didn't believe they could do certain things. And then they started to believe it. And then they started to live it and practice it. And they were able to accomplish gold medals in the Olympics and stuff like that. And typically they've done studies when your body starts to tell you to back off, typically you have as much as 20 to 40% more in the tank. And it's just a protective mechanism. So it's good to train to find your edge, right? The other thing is, what do you tell yourself when you start to hurt? Do you say, oh my God, this hurts so bad? Or do you focus on your process, like deep breaths, fast arms, fast feet, fall forward, pick up your feet, perfect circles. And when you disassociate from the pain, I count to 10, 11, and then I start over. I'm able to push way harder than if I just focus on the discomfort, right? Plan for any what if and practice it. And then remember why you're out there. Your why is big, right? And what's your mantra? Anybody come up with a mantra? If you're willing to share, I think I told you mine already. So long and strong in the swim. So take 5 minutes a few times this week to imagine your perfect race. Okay. I highly recommend your subconscious mind has so much power. If you have a goal of a sub 2 hour international, you've got to see yourself accomplishing that goal. Use the TriCalc 3. See what swim time you need, what bike time you need, what run time you need to make that goal. I am built for this. I love it. Thank you for sharing. Breathe. Yep. So those mantras are everything, right? You are an engine, Neil. That is for sure. So subconscious is so powerful. Michael Phelps, awesome YouTube videos are really great. He talks about how, he's won the most gold medals of any swimmer, but he talks about how he has imagined his performances more than he actually trained. Like he would visualize every situation, goggles filling up, a cramp, someone ahead of him and how he worked to get ahead of them. He has some really good videos that I would highly recommend. And then as I told you, I'm going to include a race day meditation that's really good. So this is a really fun one. We'll dig deep, DBAP. So I had some fraternity brothers that were racing with each other and they showed up on race day and in big Sharpie on their forearm, they had the initials DBAP. So you guys can guess what that stands for if you want to put it in the comments. Bubble, breathe is a good one. If you tend to hold your breath in the swim, I got this, I can, and I will. Remember to thank the volunteers, right? And also just be kind to people out there. Everybody's out there to have a good time. Of course, smile even when it hurts, okay? The cool thing about this race, I don't know if you guys know this, but the race director actually developed the technology to get your race results on a piece of paper 2 seconds after you cross the finish line. So he actually developed that software and sold it to all the other races. So it's really cool. The other thing is to keep in mind is you're racing against yourself. Okay. So you might have the goal of getting on the podium, but if you trained as much as you could and you gave it your all, and there are 3 other people that ended up training more hours or didn't have to work and could only train, that's out of your control. So you really just want to compare yourself to yourself. And then every once in a while you get lucky and you do get on the podium. Always check the race results before you leave, because believe it or not, even in your very first triathlon, you can get on the podium. And I always recommend my athletes to send me a post-race report. I want to know what went well, what didn't go well, so that we can plan for the next one. And you will forget. If you were suffering at all in a race, you'll block it out for the next one. So definitely want to write out everything in a post-race report. Don't forget to return your chip. And then enjoy your day, right? Have some cheat food. Maybe they serve pizza. that kind of stuff. Grab a beer, whatever, take advantage. Sometimes I bring a massage therapist. I'll see if I'm not sure if he's available at this race, but I'm definitely going to ask him. And I will be at the race site. I usually hang out to the right of the podium as you're facing the podium. I'll be on the right-hand side. And how do you guys reward yourself, right? What are you going to do that day to be like, good job, I just did a triathlon, I'm a badass, right? So no socks, if you want to try no socks, it's a great tool to get a faster transition using the baby powder and the Vaseline. And then here's a little quick video of me doing it. So I use non-petroleum Vaseline, right? You don't want to put petroleum on your skin. So baby lube, and I put it anywhere like I might get a blister. So on the either sides of my toes, and then some baby powder helps absorb the moisture to prevent getting a blister. And those are my elastic laces, which really allow you to slide your foot right in. That's it. All right, you guys, any questions? Last chance for questions. So I am offering a free week of training with me. So if you are interested, it'll be in the email follow-up with this recording. All you have to do is reply and we will set you up for 1 week of virtual training, virtual triathlon coaching, and you kind of get a taste of what it's like to work with me. And then questions, you guys don't have any questions? Let's go ahead and do the breath work. You want to? You're willing to? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, it'll take us about let's do it real quick. All right, I'm just gonna keep it like this. Okay, so what I want you to do is sit up real straight, and we're gonna do 30 rounds of an inhale through your nose and an exhale through your mouth, and I want it to be really dynamic, okay? And at the end of that 30 rounds, you're gonna hold your breath out for at least 15 seconds, and then hold your breath in. Take a deep breath in and hold your breath as long as you can. And what we're doing is hyper oxygenating the bloodstream. So I'm going to try to get out of here. Let's do the unshare the screen. There we go. Okay, cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to practice together. So do this with me. And I guarantee you, if you do this before the swim, you'll have an amazing swim. You guys ready? So we're going to do 30 rounds. That's 10. Keep going. You want to take really deep breath, inhale, fill up that diaphragm, stick your belly out. Think about filling up all your lungs and a harsh exhale. All right, let's go 10 more. Okay, now you're going to exhale. Hold your breath out. Try to get 15 seconds. Okay, deep breath in. Hold your breath. Let's try to make it 15 seconds. Hold, hold, hold. Try to relax. Good. 10 more seconds. Keep holding. Keep holding. Keep holding. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. So if you do those 3 times in a row, that whole sequence 3 times in a row, you will game change your swim start and just feel so good. Even if you end up starting a little bit too fast, you can kind of get your breath under you a little bit better. And I would go ahead and practice 3 rounds every day this week until the race, just so you get used to doing it. It is normal to get lightheaded. So you can always, bend over and grab your knees if you're feeling a little bit wobbly. And if you come train with us on Saturday, we will be doing that again together before the swim, so you can know exactly what it feels like. All right, you guys, we are done. Have a wonderful day. I'm wishing you the best race. Please let me know how it goes and respond to the email if you're interested in working together. I hope you have a great night.